inside the last GOP stronghold in NYC's liberal northern suburbs, as it stays all red in a sea of blue. The northern suburbs are swinging left, but there's one last Republican stronghold where GOP officials still hold every government seat. A red town rowing right along in a sea of blue. Leaders in the southern Westchester County town of Eastchester say they've stayed blue wave-proof just a few miles from the Bronx by rejecting wokeism and embracing traditional values, while some locals say they're perfectly happy in the right-leaning bubble. Town Supervisor Anthony Colavita cited a pro-police philosophy and fighting to keep taxes low as he offered advice for incoming New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani. There's no such thing as free lunch. You can't take from one group and give to another and not expect to have a problem, he told the Post. You create dependency and you create resentment. We are directly the opposite of that. We are moving in opposite directions. Advice for him? He's not going to take it, but it would be balance. Colavita has served at the helm for 22 years, and he and his town board running mates sailed to re-election this month after no Democrat stepped up to challenge them. The longtime Pole, who is up for election every 2 years, last had an opponent in 2021, whom he beat by 2,312 votes, 61% of the ballots. Those results are eye-opening when considering Democrats outnumber registered Republicans in the county by more than 2 to 1, and there are now more non-affiliated voters than there are GOP members, according to the local Board of Elections. Republicans have a registration advantage in just one town of the county's 19, Summers, in the less densely populated northernmost tip of the county. The data show. But Eastchester has remained dyed-in-the-wool red even as Democrats surpassed Republicans within its borders 5 years ago, which includes the villages of Tuckahoe and Bronxville, each with their own municipal governments and local services. The town is surrounded by Democrat-dominated municipalities like New Rochelle and Mount Vernon. We don't bite on the political social issue of the day. When wokeism was rampant in DEI and defunding the cops and all that stuff was all going on, we were impervious to that, he said. We could care less about that. We were all about continuing traditional values in Eastchester, like supporting the police, keeping Eastchester safe. The GOP leader, who noted he hasn't had a raise since 2004, said even though the average property taxes for Eastchester households are around $20,000 yearly, which is mostly school taxes, the increase from the town is about $4 per month next year. You're not going to piss money away on some stupid program that some social idiot thought up down in Washington or Albany somewhere, he said. We don't waste money. He added that old school doesn't slam taxpayers. But Democratic leaders in the town and county scoffed at Colavita's chest-thumping, with Town Party Chairman John Filiberti saying a change taking effect next year that will move local elections to coincide with state and federal elections may keep the supervisor busy next November. I guess you could ask him to expand on what type of woke policies Eastchester Democrats have presented to him at town board meetings. Filiberti said, County Party Chair Suzanne Berger argued that Colavita's arguments present a false dichotomy. Westchester Democrats, like Eastchester residents, value responsible local government, public safety, and civility, she said. Democrats emphasize affordability. If by woke, the supervisor means Democrats deplore the president's cutoff of SNAP benefits from 42 million Americans, so be it, she added in reference to the recently ended government shutdown and its repercussions. While Eastchester remains red, Westchester has only shifted more to the left over the last decade after President Trump won his first election in 2016. A Republican hasn't won a countywide race since 2013, and formerly Republican swaths in the lower half of the county like Harrison have become a more battleground town, with 2 Republicans turned Democrats appearing to win their town board races. Eastchester residents and business owners talked up their town's bearings and insisted the election of Mamdani in the Big Apple will lead to a flood of newcomers similar to when COVID ravaged the city. Our real estate prices are going to go through the roof. We thought we'd see a surge of the wrong people during COVID, but we didn't, said lifetime Eastchester resident Rich, 46, as he got a haircut at Cuts RUS. I think you're going to get an influx of the right kind of people here in Eastchester because of Mamdani. Mother of 3 Diane Lindemann predicted housing values will double over the next 5 years. We like our bubble. Eastchester is like living in a bubble, she said. I lived in Manhattan in my 20s in Queens for a while, Douglaston, And then after we had my first son, we moved back here in 2009. Resident Eugenio Garofalo, 54, who owns a pizza shop, admitted he doesn't know what effect the Mamdani mayorship will have in Eastchester, but knows the socialist darling isn't beloved in the town. I can tell you that, he said. All Trump supporters here.